What's up, guys? What is up? I need to pull my pants up. What's going on? What's up, guys? So I'm just waiting for everybody to chime in. And I want to do a comparison with these diets. I should do like HCG as well as carnivore and this and that and all this kind of stuff. You do the carnivore diet, Greg. Well, I'm going to talk about it. Hey, hey Sonia. This camera is definitely not at the right height right now. Just lift it up. What is up, Imelda and Elaine and Tosca, Donna? And hello from Reno. What's up, everyone? Thumbs up, Bruce says. Yes, thumbs up. Hi, Kathy. So, I'm gonna go, hi, Alma. People keep tagging when the science actually starts. I was like, y'all are impatient. People like commenting on my video. Just relax. It is etiquette to say hello to people joining the chat, and I will start with the info very soon. What's up, everyone? LaShonda, Danielle, Ashley, Keisha, another Michelle, Yvonne, Deborah. What's up, Deborah? Apple? Okay. And Jay. Thank you, Jay. All right. So you're happy to finally see my live feed. Yes. Imelda. Hey, Nicole. Okay, guys. So as you guys are coming in, I'm going to go right down to it. Patrick's my biggest fan. Thank you. A ton of hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Neely and Rachel and okay, well, explain yeah. Hi, John and Brian. Okay, here we go as you guys are chiming into the broadcast. So people don't complain that I'm not getting to the information sooner. So a lot of people don't know the difference between, because I want to get to your guys' questions sooner as well. Hi, Tracy and KB15154. Okay, hello, Pamela. Okay, you're losing hair. All right, so we'll talk about that as well. So ask about that once I'm done. Hi, Jackie. Okay, so here we go. What is it, 3 minutes in? Let's see. I don't know. All right. Hi, Mandy. So you have the ketogenic diet, you have the paleo diet, you have the carnivore diet, you have all these stupid trends and intermittent fasting. And the primary reason that I know Gary was I had a consultation with Gary today, so he's in the chat. Hi, Gary. You know what? I'm going to actually bring up Gary as an example for the carnivore diet, but in a minute, so just hold on and listen to what we discussed with the results of him eating a lot of red meat, primarily. So with that said, you guys, you need to know that the ketogenic diet, it's based on ketones. These are units of fat from your body that can get past the blood-brain barrier and used by the brain and also into the Krebs cycle and into the muscles and used as energy, which is optimal energy because it is it's a balanced energy. So if I use, let's say, the whole Nora Gagaudis analogy of the wood stove, or I say fireplace, if you're trying to heat a house with paper, okay, that's going to be very difficult to take paper and heat a house. So you're going to have big stacks and sit next to the fireplace and feed it all day long. So with the paper, it's going to burn really high, really fast, and burn out, and you got to feed another piece of paper. That's carbs. Okay, that's the way carbohydrates work, because we deplete our glycogen very, very fast, and when the brain wants more, you have to give it more. Now, keto would be big, chunky logs that you'd put on the fireplaces, which is going to burn more even, not as high, but it's going to burn for hours. Now you can leave the fireplace for 6 hours as the house stays warm. That is keto, to understand the analogy of keto versus your body wanting glucose. So the carnivore diet is still glucose dependent. Yep. And the paleo diet is very clearly glucose dependent because people are having fruit and sweet fruits and dried fruits. And I dare to say things like sweet potatoes and brown potatoes and parsnip and yellow squash and carrots and all these things that are vegetables that are higher in carbohydrates, or fruits that are higher in fructose. So you can't adapt on a paleo diet because it's a low carb, high fat diet, but not ketogenic fat. A lot of people on paleo might get their fats up to 80 grams. I'm not going to lie, and that's pretty pissy low. Now, they might get it around 100, but people on paleo tend to not go higher. Yes. And the ketogenic diet, you have to get up to 200 grams of fat. And what you guys don't understand is you have to eat dietary fat as to train the brain to convert the dietary fat into ketones that can be used and eventually into the body fat. That is the restaurant, right? Here's a restaurant right here that you can't access on the paleo diet. Not really. Not like keto. And on the carnivore diet, you don't access this fat like you do with keto, because when your brain is still glucose dependent, listen up guys, your body has a very difficult time taking triglycerides and converting it back into glucose. Once the fat goes in, it likes to stay there. And that's why people like to do keto, but they forget what the whole breakdown is about. The information, they don't understand the science. They think that you just eat some cheese and some nuts and run around an intermittent fast and you're going to access that fat and convert it into ketones via the liver to get into the bloodstream to be used. No, does not work like that. And people keep not reading the science. They just go, there's 5,000 gurus on the internet. Most of them do not know what they're talking about, especially the people who are like, learn about my keto journey. I lost 60 pounds and follow me on keto. Here's what I ate. Here's what I ate in a day. And then you guys follow that and because you don't understand the science of keto, because you never read about it or you're confused about it because everybody says things differently. They say things like eat high protein, eat lower fat because you can't lose weight if your fats are too high. Well, then that wouldn't be keto, darling. That would be paleo. Or it would be low carb, high fat, but it would not be ketogenic. And if you don't believe me, go get a glucometer and test your values, and you will see what I'm talking about. And not only fasted, test your values all day long, including in the middle of the night, post-workout, and post-meals that have carrots in them, sweet potato in them, and fruits in them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so this is what frustrates me, is that you guys are like, my hair's falling out. I mean, I don't know why. I just don't understand why hair's falling out. And I'm like, oh, you're following these idiots that don't tell you to do anything but eat cheese and a ton of protein, and your hair's falling out. So that's why I do these live broadcasts. I'm the only one on the internet that goes against everybody, because it is very difficult, you guys, to consult people. And I don't just do a phone consultation. I'm looking at you on either Skype, FaceTime, one of these platforms where we can see each other, and I have people stand up, turn around, lift the shirt, drop the drawers. I'm looking at what you're dealing with here. And I used to have people fill out forms and all this kind of stuff, but I took that away because Stephanie is very overworked. I've done this so much, I can figure out what's going on with somebody within 1 minute, because a lot of you are so similar. Thank you, Danielle, honey. I am preaching today. Hallelujah. I guess that's my theme as my sarcasm, but all meant with love. Very much meant with love. So, yes, you guys press that like button, as I say in every broadcast, which feels very, very bizarre. bet when you guys press the like button, then I get more visibility, because I don't know how many times people say, I'm so glad I found you. I didn't know you existed. I'm like, you didn't know I existed? When I first started doing videos, there wasn't no one. When people would type in Stephanie, my videos would come up number one, and that no longer happens at all. So liking it helps the YouTube algorithms. So like up the stream, guys, and it also lets me know that you want me to do more live broadcasts, because I haven't uploaded a static video in weeks and weeks and weeks. Whoa! We got Lulu Lime Designs supporting the super chat. Thank you with the $19.99. Thank you, Lulu Lime Designs. I really appreciate that. And please show your love and appreciation for her time and knowledge. Love you, Stephanie. Except Vanessa. Oh, Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you so much for supporting the broadcast. It's a lot of work. It's hard to do them every day. By the time I get off of the broadcast, I kind of feel exhausted, because I'm standing, I'm not sitting at the computer. And I watch other streamers, and they're either doing video games, or they are just talking about whatever. And I started off answering a barrage of questions, and now I'm like kind of scared to stop doing what I'm doing, but it's exhausting. So thank you, Vanessa, so much for supporting the super chat. Thank you so much. All right, so here we go. You're late. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. Happy Friday as well, Carrie. So I want to continue the difference between the keto diet, the paleo diet, and then I'll go on to the carnivore diet and intermittent fasting and HCG and all this nonsense. So you guys continuously forget to figure out what your metabolic health is prior to doing these dietary trends, including keto. You have to figure out what's going on, because if you don't and you start having physical hiccups, people tend to blame just the dietary protocol itself and not existing prior issues. For example, thyroid insufficiencies. That is very, very, unfortunately, a very common issue now. You guys know that it has been explained very often that potentially, because they did these tests on pigs, things like certain cruciferous vegetables can block iodine from getting into iodine-rich foods, from being able to get into the thyroid to produce your thyroid hormone, especially T3. And they gave pigs a lot of kale. They thought it was a great superfood, and then they started having thyroid problems and getting sick, and they're like, oops. And here we are drinking kale shakes and raw kale and kale salads, and people aren't realizing the issues. Now, it's not only cruciferous vegetables, so that's why I try to explain to people, don't eat raw cruciferous. Try to cook them or saute down a little bit of these anti-nutrients in the plant source foods. Don't do salads all the time, guys, because we're eating our foods out of season, and we're having accessibility to plants that we would normally not. So we have like heavy loads of anti-nutrients or plant chemicals, which of course I've mentioned before are a part of a plant's defense to survive. So you have a low carb, high fat. So often when people are showing any metabolic damage, I'm like, why don't you just start off on carbs first? Now, I don't like white rice, but that's sometimes what I suggest. Yes, or suggest. Over the brown rice, as you know, with the arsenic and the phytates in the hull of the brown rice and quinoa, get rid of it. That's the reason why Asians eat white rice. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of nutrition, but it has carbohydrates, it has the starch, so you guys don't go through massive thyroid issues or adrenal issues or rebound of physiological insulin resistance, as sort of a diabetic response to doing keto, because your blood sugar's so out of whack and you don't realize it prior to doing keto. Or you guys were doing a lot of high carbs before, you do like fasting, or you do the carnivore diet, you drop your carbs overnight, and all of a sudden there's problems with your LDL small particle Bs, right? Or your triglyceride to HDL levels get wonky because you're not adapting and you're eating a lot of meat with a lot of acids and especially uric acid, and you have a uric acid issue or methionine, you guys are going to start having kidney issues on these meat diets. Sorry, if you guys didn't have pH problems eating foods high in omega-6 and then going into these dietary protocols. Oh goodness. Wow, thank you, Gary. Gary, you gotta Gary already did a consultation today. Thank you, Gary and Tosca. Donna Tosca, thank you for the fitty. And Gary, thank you for the fitty. He says Stephanie was very gracious and went over 1 hour consultation today. I'll be setting up another consultation next opening consultation. So, you know, it's really nice to have some of the people who I've done consultations with in the chat, so you guys don't think that I'm just pulling stuff out of my bunghole, because the proof is in the pudding. If I'm having people that I do consultations in the chat telling you, then I must be doing something right. So thank you, Gary, and thank you so much, Donna, and all of. Oh, Richard! Richard and I go way back. Richard, you're so awesome. Thank you, Richard. Richard's like, I've explained before that Richard also was a client and was kind of like, what he said was, I'm very stubborn, because I told him that he needed to stop playing so many video games late at night because his cortisol was jacked. And now he's like my biggest supporter. I think Greg's going to become, Gary, why do I keep calling you Greg? I think it's because my brother's name. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Richard. And let's see here. I'm just going to go back. And Donna, thank you so much. And Lulu Lime, which is Vanessa. Thank you so much for supporting the chat. Wow. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Although, you know, I don't do the super chat. I didn't turn on the super chat to I don't know, to beg for money. I turned it on because there's a lot of, I'm going off topic, but a lot, I don't, I feel like, how do I say this? I feel like I'm being supported by what I do more than trying to get paid, for example. And often I will say you can also support me by like joining my keto course, which is $15 a month, if you don't want to donate to a super chat. Supporting what I'm doing in some way, because as you guys know, I run a one-person business and it gets kind of hard sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, which is the reason why I'm late with the you know, the videos with the jump cuts and the nice lighting. I've got the lighting and the camera, I just have a hard time doing everything by myself. But all right, here we go. Donna says, you're welcome. Thank you for all of the great information and motivation. Thank you, guys. Okay. So I'm going to get back to the topic so people don't complain in my comment section that I'm going off topic. You know, I am the princess or the queen of digression. So with that said, sometimes I have people graduate into keto by starting off by doing a low carb, high fat. Now it's still going to be high fat. I'm going to put you around 100 to 150 grams of fat as you graduate, because you've got to have this kind of like switch off. Once your carbohydrates drop, so that would be white rice and carrots and sweet potatoes and fruits like yellow squash, because anything with seed is a fruit, zucchini, I might have you on berries, or like low glycemic fruits like green apple. I'll definitely have you on sweet potato if you don't have a histamine problem. If you don't have a problem with lectins, I will have you on the berries and whatnot, and the bitter fruits. Before I completely graduate you into full keto, but you have to have your fats high. So you tend to sort of separate your fats from the rice. So I wouldn't have you do rice with a lot of fat. I would have you do the rice, and then I would have you do a fatty tea afterwards, because we don't want a glucose spike with fat in the blood, and then insulin will store it, so I tend to split it up. Now if you're having fat with sweet potatoes, zucchini, carrots, you're good to go. It's just the starch where I separate it. FYI. And who else talks about this stuff on the internet? Oh, I'm sorry, none of them. Okay, so here we go. I like to toot my own horn, because I just want you guys to realize that the reason why other keto people don't talk about this is because they don't think this way, and they don't know, because consulting people is exhausting. It's exhausting, especially if you're really trying to communicate with people. I start off my consultations by just sitting back and going, give me a background, give me some history, tell me what's going on. So people start explaining what's going on, and we go there. So then I have to ask a ton of questions to make sure that you don't have thyroid issues, cancer issues, estrogen dominance, low testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, high blood sugar, low blood sugar, any type of inflammation of the skin, candida, leaky gut, parasites, infections. We go through it all. Yes, in an hour. So I like to get to it. And then once I find out if you have any of these issues, if you've got food sensitivities, allergies, like the latex allergies with the avocado or bananas, although bananas are not keto, I just want to let you know that they both are latex. Then from there, I gather all the data. I want to know what your poop is like. So a lot of people are like, and I'm like, yeah, I talk about poop every day. No worries. Let's talk about your poop. We talk about your poop. Now, I remember years ago, this woman was like, oh, she was working with clients. She was like, we talk about poop. And I just thought, I didn't really understand the importance of knowing your stool quality. I didn't know. So that's very, very important to assess, is your stool quality, also your urine quality. So important. Your nails, if you have ridges in the nails, if your tongue is white, if you have broken blood vessels around your nose, if your eyes are a little yellow, or broken blood vessels in the eyes. These are the things that I go over. Your hair quality, skin quality, sleep quality. It's exhausting. I'm not gonna lie, and I've got people who are emotional in the consultations and crying, and I cry with them because I understand. But with that said, I'm gonna go back to the topic at hand. These are the things. The reason why I'm mentioning the consultations is this is how I gather the data. This is how I start to know what's blocking your keto adaptation. If you've got leptin issues, if you've got starvation issues, whatever it is, that's what we go over. Hormones is a big one. A woman came up to me today and was like, how do you get those arms? She's like, what exercise? I'm like, it's not really the exercise. I looked at her and I was like, I know this woman's around my age, so I'm going to just go ahead and ask her. And I go, how old are you? And she pruned up. She went, I go, okay, I'm a 67 baby. That makes me almost 51. And she was like, what? She goes, I'm 49. And I said, it's really not so much about your muscles, but about your hormones. So that's another thing that I cover in these consultations, which helps me understand how to construct your plans, if you should do like a low carb, high fat, if you should do a paleo thing, which, I like the paleo diet, but I'm not digging the like dried fruit, and people aren't aware of like the candida and the fungal problem with some of the nuts that they eat and the dark chocolate and all this stuff that people have fungal overgrowth or systemic candida albicans overgrowth and too many spores and all this kind of stuff. But with that said, so I like to do like a low carb, high fat, not necessarily calling it paleo, and graduate you into keto, up the fat, drop the carbs down to that 20 net, and then we know what type of cruciferous vegetables you can handle, or what type of greens you can handle, and then that's optimal. Now, the whole thing about ketogenic diet is producing ketones, so your brain can run on them. Now, if I go, so paleo is, whoa, we got some more. We got, what is this? What is it? RTP white. What is it? Let me see. She says, thank you for the 14, for the 15. Let me see, is RTYP Pepe? Thank you. She's, if you listen to Stephanie, you will get results, which is very true. It's not about the weight loss, but feeling good. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. It's not the money, it's the support. It's the support. You know, because when I first started doing broadcasts, you just like, you don't even know, you get trolls, they say horrible things. So it's really nice to get that support. Yeah, no dark chocolate, but you can do white chocolate, which is the cacao butter. All right, if you have candida overgrowth, right, or if you're doing keto, if you're doing other dietary measures, then you can do the raw cacao and a lot, but not for keto. So with that said, so paleo is still your body because you're eating like too many carbs and not enough fat. Your body's still dependent on glycogen, which means you still have to eat every couple of hours, which is feeding the fireplace with paper, right? Which makes your blood sugar unstable, which creates a lot of metabolic damage over time. Let's dig into this carnivore and intermittent fasting nonsense. All right, Gary. So I talked to Gary today, and you could say that Gary was on sort of a quasi carnivore diet. He tells me that he's eating all of this red meat, right? And homeboy's like doing like ribeye, right? Expensive, the fattier cuts, grass-fed red meat. And he said because he was watching my live streams and videos, when his urine went dark, he went, uh-oh. He got worried that his body was not filtering, right? His kidneys, the kidneys weren't filtering these red meats properly because of things like uric acid buildup. And he started to become afraid of developing kidney stones. So he stopped. He went back to other meats like chicken, fish, pork, whatever, and the dark urine went away. So when people are talking about the carnivore diet, now we're gonna go there right now because I am tired. I did this other carnivore diet video and I get all of these people with yakking opinions, right? And no proof. None. 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 Now, I said before, okay, so keto is a high-fat diet. And I coach people trying to eat tuna and chicken breast and shrimp and tilapia on a keto diet. So carnivore diet doesn't even talk about being ketogenic. What you don't understand is the reason why a lot of people feel better on a carnivore diet is because of the anti-nutrients in plants that have racked their gut up. They are so digestive, like leaky gut, food sensitivity to the vegetables that meat, but what they don't understand is that unless you are slaughtering your own meat, right? Unless you're going out and hunting your own game, that meat that you're taking home from the supermarket, people who are carnivore diet people, has a lot of bacteria on it. And that bacteria is a problem if you have a dysbiotic gut. Now what you gonna say? You gonna argue me with that? You can't argue that because you're not going and hunting your own meat. So just because you take out the vegetables does not stop the symptoms of leaky gut and overhistamine response from the mast cells. Woo! Let's see. Noel Macy. Thank you so much for supporting the chat. And Noel, who I assume is a guy, says thank you for all your dedication. Thank you, Noel. Thank you guys so much. I really, 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 really appreciate the support. And it's not the money, but I'll tell you right now, all these people who are donating and making comments, I know that you have value in what I'm saying because you are spending your hard-earned money. These are not rich people, so thank you so much for donating to the super chat. And everyone else, of course. Everyone else. I really appreciate it, but I just feel more confident in when I do videos and people are donating, not for the money, but just for the value of what I'm doing. Okay, so with that said, Richard's like, Stephanie saved my life. Thank you, Richard. I love that I have people in here that I've either consulted or people who've been following me for a while saying things like, I tried this and I realized that Stephanie was correct, because a lot of people have a difficulty listening to like even the subject, like don't do the carnivore diet because are you making ketones, people on the carnivore diet? So you think that a high-fat ketogenic diet, because people will say in the comments of the my carnivore video, they'll say like, I eat high-fat meat. First of all, ribeye, okay, is almost $20 a pound. So do not lie, okay? And there is not enough fat in chicken, okay? All right? And some of y'all have an aversion to pork. So you're not eating pork belly. So people lie. I don't like when people are lying because they want, so like when the intermittent fasting or the HCG thing became so popular, people want so bad to either fast or do these diets because they want to drop fat so bad that they will protect this stuff to the bitter end. They will protect it with no science or to check out what their metabolic issues are prior. And so, okay, so you're doing meat. Okay, so how much fat are you going to get? Now, if you eat too much protein and if you got too much uric acid buildup, you're going to have kidney problems eating a bunch of red meat. Now, not everyone, but a lot of you guys, because your liver and kidneys are already being overworked with the toxins, with the water, with the plastics, with the pesticides, with the glyphosate. So if you're going to argue with me, argue those points, okay? Because the liver and the kidney has to filter all of the garbage. And then you're going to stick meat in your body that potentially is not, and even game, even wild game are drinking from ponds that have glyphosate in it because that stuff floats in the air and gets in the water. It's scary what's happening to animals today that are even wild and free. So you're going to eat a high protein diet. So Gary was eating like 2 pounds a day, right? 2 pounds a day. So let's say if you ate a pound, okay, where's your body going to get the glucose from? You need to produce ketones, right? So you got to, here's the thing on a carnivore diet. Number one, you got to chew that meat real slow. Because if you have low HCl levels, you're not going to digest that meat. And a lot of it's going to putrefy in your gut, which creates a histamine response. So people will factor health on a carnivore diet because they step on a scale. A scale. Really though? Let's go over your sleep. Let's go over your gut. And let's go over your stool quality. But why aren't people showing that on a carnivore diet? If you're eating a standard American diet of carbs and chips and cookies and you go to a carnivore diet and you're eating grass-fed beef, you're going to see improvements in the beginning. But then over time, you're going to have a rebound effect because you're not producing enough ketones. So you develop things like hypoglycemia. And how do I know this, carnivore people? Because I have worked with people who went from the carnivore diet to the keto diet because they got sick on the carnivore diet. So people are like, have you ever done a carnivore diet? Yes, I've done somewhat of a version. If you go back to my videos, I said I ate beef 3 times a day for a year and a half. So unfortunately, if you are dysbiotic, you're not going to be able to produce a high quality stool over time because the real carnivore diet is no caffeine. You're using caffeine so you can poop. I poop just fine as long as I have my 2 cups of coffee with my carnivore diet. And my energy is great. But what you guys don't understand is that on one hand you take down inflammation, but over time the system of not having ketones and breaking down things that have more uric acid in it, and if your kidneys and your liver and your colon aren't detoxifying, you're not a good methylator, you will rebound. And I know this because I keep meeting people who've rebounded on the carnivore diet. So you can't say nothing. I've tried it. I've spoken to people, tons of people who've tried it, and you guys aren't understanding the fact that the carnivore diet is not a ketogenic diet. Your brain still wants glucose. So what happens? You go into gluconeogenesis. That's what the body does. If you don't produce enough viable ketones, and the carnivore diet and the ketogenic diet are very linear in that aspect. We really shouldn't have to eat vegetables at all. So I understand people's wanting to protect it because we shouldn't need vegetables. We weren't big leaf eaters. We weren't cruciferous vegetable eaters. We didn't have hybridized fruits. So it makes sense that we should be able to do a carnivore diet and be fine. But really and truly, it's the organ meats, right? So beef has a lot of stuff, but you still need vitamin C. So you can get that from liver, but how many people are eating liver, especially cow liver? And if you eat too much raw cow liver, what happens? Or is it, no, it's cooked, sorry. Cooked liver, the carbohydrates high. So if you're trying to do the carnivore diet and get your vitamin C through the liver, through the organs, and get vitamin C that way, so you don't develop things like rickets over time, you don't want to have to do dietary measures and take a bunch of supplements. People are not eating high fat diet. So this is my argument with people trying to do the carnivore diet, that over time you have to consider things like what's going on with your gut, right? What's going on if you have a difficulty with uric acid? You got to think about that prior. If you've ever had kidney stones, look at your urine, people, and look to see if it's bubbly, and look to see if it's dark, even though you've drank enough water. So sometimes we don't look through the microscope deeper at what certain dietary trends can do to the body. So I promote the ketogenic diet. Well, let me tell you what the ketogenic diet does to the body if you do it wrong. And I've mentioned this a bazillion times. You can develop what? Gout. You can develop dysbiosis of the gut, histamine intolerance, especially from eating mono foods. You can develop hypoglycemia, thyroid insufficiency, type 2, like the physiological insulin resistance, not type 2, insulin resistance. You can develop sleep issues. You can develop kidney, liver, LDL small particle issues. You can develop issues. There's a lot of women who are trying to breastfeed and doing keto the wrong way, and their breasts don't produce enough milk because they're not doing keto the right way. So why would I sit? If you start a business, you have to say, here's the benefits and here's the things that can go wrong. If you're talking about the carnivore diet, you have to mention things like, do you have enough HCl levels in your stomach? What's your gut biome like? What's your stool quality like? What's your thyroid like? What's your reproductive hormones like? What's your acidity levels, like your pH levels? You have to look at these things. Are you constipated? Do you have loose stool? Did you have loose stool before? We know that plants can be a problem, but we have to learn more about from the moment that you eat here and it comes out there, and a lot of people don't do that. So for the carnivore diet, like protectors who are doing it because two reasons why they do it. Number one is to lose weight and balance insulin. Number two is because you have a problem digesting vegetables, which I understand. But if you're doing it to lose weight and you're not producing enough viable ketones, you can develop a thyroid issue or reactive hypoglycemia. Just give it time. Just like the keto people start developing those issues, because in the first couple of years, nobody spoke about these metabolic inflexibility or metabolic derangement issues. Nobody spoke about it during keto. So just give the carnivore diet time, and don't reference one person. You can't reference one person. That's the reason why I don't show what I eat in a day, because you're not me. Okay, you don't have my mind. You don't have my digestive tract. You don't have my diaphragmatic breathing. You don't have any of that. So you can never, ever, ever go, well, Michael Phelps ate 10,000 calories and swam, so I can do that. Or this person did the carnivore diet and they look amazing. You guys have to have the eye to see what health really looks like. No, you can't. No. 1 millimolar, it doesn't even matter. Somebody was asking about the carnivore diet producing. First of all, 1 millimolar is too low. And it's not about the ketones when you're doing the carnivore diet. It's the blood sugar and the ketones and your urine quality and your stool quality. It's all of those things. It's your blood sugar. So I would love for a person who does a carnivore diet to test their blood sugar, but they don't. They don't. Because people don't say get a glucometer on the carnivore diet. So people are just pulling stuff out of the bung and they're trying to argue with me, and I'm so bored. Go to a carnivore channel and be like, we're doing the carnivore diet. Are people promoting grass-fed? We're not even talking about that. Grass-fed, right? Pastured, fresh. Are people talking about that? No. No. They're just protecting this diet because people are obsessed with whatever they want to protect. They don't talk about the science. They go, well, this guy did well on it. So what? All right, we got 126 people in the chat. And we only have 89 likes. So like up this stream, guys. Like up the stream. What up? Like it up, guys. I only see 89, so there is a few people in here. Oh, now we got 93 who are watching, but they're not liking. So it's really hard to kind of. Oh, you liked. Thanks, Ron. It's really hard. Oh, and Septira is like up the stream. It's really hard to kind of go against the status quo. The only reason why I'm going against the status quo is because people are getting sick on the diet. So if you want to know why I'm saying these things that I'm anti-carnivore diets, because I keep finding people getting sick on it. It's the same thing with the intermittent fasting. Don't even get me started on that. Another diet where your electrolytes are low, people are having heart palps, they're having muscle cramps, they're dehydrated, and they're also having thyroid, superthyroid problems, hypoglycemia, and poor sleep over and over and over and over and over again. That's conclusive because I've worked with so many people of intermittent fasting. I think almost everybody's done it right now who's desperate to lose weight. Whereas not that many people have done the carnivore diet in totality. You know, the intermittent fasting is super, super popular. But it's another diet that doesn't produce enough viable ketones. And I said viable. That means it doesn't matter just that what your glucometer says in your blood sugar, because that could be hypoglycemia. It also matters everything else. Stool quality, sleep quality, all these qualities. Are you having a candida die-off? Do you have a rash? Like, do you have any of these? Do you have a weird smell? Do you have energy crisis? Are you starting to rebound and get really, really hungry? Is your blood sugar high at night? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Like, all these things you have to know on an intermittent fasting diet, because I say to people, if you're going to intermittent fast, then relax. Because it's the same thing with the carnivore diet. Sort of like you're not producing enough ketones because you're not eating a high fat diet. You're eating a moderate fat diet, and you need a high fat diet to stimulate ketone production. And then you have to keep your stress down, diaphragmatic breathe, and meditate, and all this weird stuff. Connect to circadian rhythm if you do a carnivore diet. And then we got to go on and on and on and on and on about the meat quality and the types of meats that you're eating. Thank you so much, Edgar. Thank you so much for contributing to the chat. Got a lot of love tonight, so thank you so much. And Richard's like, yay, Edgar. Thank you so much, Edgar. And thank you, Richard, and everyone else. That's why I'm doing this live broadcast again, and I'm going to get more annoying people trying to get, why would you give your opinion on my channel? Like, who cares? If you don't agree with me, go to the next channel. Just move on. Like, you're not going to do anything. I think that when people are triggered by what I say, they have to comment because they're defending something they're actually really worried. It's like the coffee thing. People will comment on the coffee thing. Well, I do coffee, and bulletproof coffee is good for you. Why would you even care? If you don't care, you don't comment. You just mosey along your day. People comment against what I'm saying with no proof. Well, this guy says, well, you're not that guy. And let me see who you are. Don't have like a troll account with no picture. Let's see who you are. Let's see a YouTube page. Let me see you work out. Let me see your body. Let me see you in a workout top. Let me see you shirtless. All right? Then we got a conversation going on, right? Let me look in the toilet to see your stool quality. Then we got a conversation going on. As you can see, I'm triggered. So I just want to say, like, for the people who are commenting against what I'm saying, I'm pushing a button that's annoying them because they want to support this diet, because people love trends. They love trends. How do I know that? Because my butt is 50 and I've seen trends my entire life of people having you do stuff. Let's say the insanity videos, right? Of people getting injured left and right and left and right. Love me some CrossFit. Think it's very, very communal. But that sport is horrible to the body. Could be good in some areas with your endurance, and so bad in other areas because it's very inflammatory, it's very adrenal driven, it's very cortisol driven. So, there are some good things to eating a meat diet, because if you've got histamine intolerance so bad, or eczema, then doing a carnivore diet in the short term can help. But ultimately, over time, without producing enough viable, and I said viable ketones, and managing your blood sugar, if you have a blood sugar rebound effect on a carnivore diet, but you don't check that because nobody tells you to do that, and everybody wants you to drink that Kool-Aid of a trend, and that's the reason why I'm like, you don't have to believe me on keto. Go do your own research. Go learn about the gallbladder. And that's another thing during the carnivore diet. You have to make sure that you have enough HCl levels and your gallbladder is functioning, which a lot of you guys have sludge or stones. So these are things that you guys must check out doing these ridiculous trends, including keto. Yes. And don't even get me started on the HCG nonsense. So anytime you do a dietary measure where you go from this extreme way of eating to another, it's like people who drink alcohol, that if they're alcoholics and then they try to stop, they will have a toxic reaction. And so it's the same thing from going from one diet to another. You have to know what your pre-existing health is, because it doesn't matter what dietary trend it is. You could stress your body out, and we don't want to just look at weight on a scale, because that could be a lot of water and it can be muscle, and we don't want to lose amino acids, because that's what makes your jowls hang and makes you look old. Because aging is not just how many wrinkles you have, but it's how much your skin bounces back, how tight your skin is, and when you're looking for like health, if you have broken blood vessels around the nose, around the mouth, if you're hanging, if the neck is hanging, this is stuff that we need. The skin quality, that's the stuff we got to look at if I'm not looking at your stool. Mic drop. All right, I am ready now to drink some water. Who's drinking water with me? Right, because we're 47 minutes into this. Who's drinking water? I'm just being an observer of you guys talking to each other now. Lemon water, as long as you don't have a histamine response to it, because unfortunately lemon is high histamine. Shivani, hey Shivani. Oh, thank you for all. So Shivani sent me an email with all the places to go to in India, because I really want to go there soon. So thank you so much, by the way. And I've had other people from India who've had glucometers, and I don't know if it's somebody who sent it from like England, or who knows, Africa. There's Indians in all these places of the world, and they had sent to them. I don't know, but I know I have had consultations with people in India. Shirataki noodles, because it's processed, and I don't like processed anything. It's made in a laboratory. You gotta think twice. Yeah, Richard's saying that the doctors are biased, and you can take that with veganism, and let's say the carnivore diet. Check this out. Here are two completely opposite dietary measures, and you got doctors saying over here that eating no meat is the way that you should be healthy, and then you've got doctors here saying do the carnivore diet. This is the most healthy primal way to eat. So in both camps there's bias. So when I say that the ketogenic diet can damage you, that's when I'm not being biased, because I've seen it damage people. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell people to run and do keto. Now everyone can do keto, unless you have some extreme genetic mutation and you can't digest fats or whatever. You're like, you have no gallbladder and you can't get rest, right? And if you don't get enough REM cycles, your body can't repair at night. It's got to break down fats and all this stuff. But generally, you guys, you can do keto if you don't have a gallbladder. But a lot of these professionals, they're very biased because let's say, I spoke at the Paleo Effects on a panel, and two of the people on the panel were guys, and they were saying that you needed a lot of protein. Now listen to this. This is very interesting. They said you needed a lot of protein if you were a female athlete on a ketogenic diet. And I was like, okay. We were talking about women who are athletes, not men. We were talking about women. I said, okay, I am an athlete. I've been an athlete my entire life. Not only am I an athlete, but I'm 50 years of age. And I'll tell you one thing. My hormones, look at this. That's the business, right? That's the business. Hormones are so balanced at this age because if I didn't make enough testosterone, I wouldn't have the gains. And I said, I dropped my protein from about 66 grams down to 50 to 53 grams of protein totally for the day as an athlete. And there are days I could be at the gym 3 hours and still ride my bike to the store and all over town, like going all day long on less protein, and I gain 15 pounds of muscle. Now that's when I did the grass-fed beef 3 times a day, but that was because of the creatine, but I still went up in muscle, and I went up a lot. When I stepped on the scale, oh, thank you, LaShonda Washington, for supporting the stream, which is, I guess, me. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. So if you're using a glucometer, it can be a little subjective. Somebody was asking, like, how do you know if you're experiencing hypoglycemia? Well, number one, your blood sugar is probably going to be low, so you got to be careful to see numbers go into the 60s. Now, can you adapt and not have hypoglycemia with a blood sugar in the 60s? Yes, but it's very rare. Most people see blood sugar 60, like 68 and below, tend to be hypoglycemic. So also, you might have hypoglycemic symptoms if your blood sugar is really high, which means you're not adapted. Blood sugar is high. It's not getting into a cell. It's just climbing in the bloodstream, and you feel very, very tired. So using the glucometer, it's just noticing if it goes 100 down to 50 or 30, as Gary was talking about. If it's like going from really high to really low, you're probably having super hardcore blood sugar instability and probably hypoglycemia, and then adrenal thyroid. So I bought macadamia nuts today, and the thing is, I don't really want people to eat macadamia nuts anymore because people keep gaining weight on them because they're having this dopamine response and they're not getting their blood sugar stable before, and the weight is just climbing, right? Blood sugar high, insulin high, you store, even if it's a keto diet. My preferred source is always butter, of animal fat, and unfortunately, you got to look at the quality of the fat. You have to, it's always good to rotate. So I have rotated. Lately I have not, but lard, beef tallow, duck fat, and butter are my animal fats. How do you know when you're doing keto wrong? It's 99% of everyone. Like, their fats are too low, their protein is too high, they chew their foods too quickly, they don't sleep in deep REM cycles, they don't diaphragmatic breathe, they train too hard, they train too little, they don't see if they have existing gallbladder issues or gut dysbiosis or uric acid problem, methionine problem. People don't look at these things. And so they just radically do keto, they get tired, they have adrenal issues, they have thyroid issues, their cortisol becomes either inverted or drops too low, close to Addison's issues, the hair falls out, people become super constipated. There's a million things that people do wrong. They eat mono foods, they eat cheese, they eat nuts, they drink caffeine, they intermittent fast, they do all this weird stuff, and they don't have that sustained energy, they don't hit the REM cycles or the deep sleep, they don't have improvements in their skin. A lot of people, here's nothing. My skin is saggy on keto or the carnivore diet. My skin is saggy on the carnivore diet. Well, that's probably because you have too much cortisol, too much gluconeogenic and genesis, and you're accessing those aminos you shouldn't be accessing. You're having an inflammatory response. No, you shouldn't skip meals, but it depends on what your schedule is. The person is like, should I not eat if it's after 6? If you have a day schedule, you should eat something small. Eat very slowly as to not overwhelm the digestive tract. You tried my drummies that I posted earlier in the week on Instagram. Delicious. Oh, thank you. Oh, is it Jackig or Jackig 163? Okay. Let me see here. How long do I'm doing keto forever. So you guys, that's a personal choice. Yes, cod liver oil. Yes, I haven't had it for a while, but yes, I've definitely gone through cod liver oil. Oh, and for the diabetics, type 1 and type 2, keto is amazing. Amazing. Do you hear people saying, people with insulin resistance, or no, especially type 2 diabetics or type 1 to do carnivore diet? Just saying. What if you have gout? Should you do carnivore diet? We have kidney stones. Should you do the carnivore diet? You fixed your bipolarism. Awesome, Haley. Anyone take salt water so they have enough sodium and potassium? Yeah, it's about 5 grams a day, but you're not going to get your potassium and magnesium from sodium. You got to eat potassium-rich foods and also take either transdermal or sublingual magnesium. You can get duck fat on I think fatworks.com or on Amazon. You're drinking salt water right now. Who else is drinking water with me? Hello? Who else is? It's expensive though, but that's where the duck fat is. If you want, healthy animals. Hi, Dina. Okay, we're almost at an hour here. Coconut oil is great as long as you don't have a problem with the caprylic acid. The lauric acid is amazing, amazing antiviral, which is why I like monolaurin, or also called lauricidin. Antiviral and antifungal, antibacterial. Stuff's amazing. Energy, I'm drinking. Okay, well, you got a problem. You got some yeast going on there, honey. You got liver problems going on there. Yeah, duck fat's expensive. That's why it's just good to have from time to time and not all the time. I don't know if malic acid is okay on keto. I have to go and look that up. Yes, beef hearts and liver hearts in moderation. July 1st time. Oh, Whole Foods Norma says that Whole Foods sells fatworks.com now. But if you order directly from the company, I'm sure it's cheaper than Whole Foods. Apple cider vinegar is great. It's got plant pectins in them that help to clear out the estrogen in the liver and fattiness. If you have fatty liver, it helps with your liver enzymes. And also, people use it if they have low HCl levels, have a difficulty to digest foods. But if a lot of people have histamine intolerance to it, so be careful on the apple cider vinegar. So malic acid gives you relief. Well, hopefully, BB Cutie, you are doing. You're not doing any grains, you're not doing any dairy, and you're not doing any caffeine, you're not doing any nuts on those foods, and you're not doing anything high in phytic acid, and you're not doing any nightshades, hopefully as well. Let's see, same $19.99. Oh, it's the same price. Okay. Now no cow beef here, just water, buffalo. Okay. Is flaxseed estrogenic? Now they call it a phytoestrogen, so it's debatable. Some people say that phytoestrogens will help lower estrogen. Some people say phytoestrogens in males raise estrogen. But I haven't seen it yet with all of these thousands of people that I've worked with doing flax seeds or meal. I haven't seen any like raise in dihydrotestosterone or raise in estrogen in men. I have not seen it as of yet. So I eat it. I haven't, as you guys can see, I don't have an estrogenic body, and I eat a lot of flax in products. Flax meal. Oh, thank you, Jackie, for the fiber. Thank you for thank you for supporting the chat, Jackie, who's been around forever. I've seen Jackie also on social media for a long time. So I've got a lot of people who've been following me for quite a long time, and I appreciate you guys still sticking around a lot. Yes, thank you, Jackie. Chia seeds, for some reason, spike people's blood sugar. I don't know why. I know they're high in carbohydrate. I don't know if that's the issue. I don't know if there's any type of phytic acid issue. But chia seeds over and over again keep spiking people's blood sugars as they're trying to adapt. That's why. Your nutritional yeast is great. It's got B complex in it, but it's got a lot of carbs, so you just sprinkle it. People are like dumping tablespoons of it, and they're like, why is my blood sugar high? Perhaps because you're using too much nutritional yeast. You made chicken broth with thighs, added duck fat. It works. I use that fatty cheese to get extra fats in. Yes, you can do keto with gastric bypass, but you should probably do betaine HCl and ox biles, because when you have a bypass, you're typically, I would never do that, but that's just me. It's you don't absorb vitamin B. You don't absorb your B complex, B12, zinc, vitamin D, because you become malabsorptive with a bypass. But you probably need 8 to break down the fat, because a lot of people with bypass have this kind of gallbladder response, whereas like they'll eat a high fat diet and they'll feel pressure or they'll feel like a stomach ache. So you have to eat your foods very obviously slowly, split it up throughout the day, like a fatty tea is great, and use ox bile, I would suggest. But you can with bypass. To be honest, I only say don't do keto if you're not willing to be disciplined. So genetically, 99% of the planet can actually do it. We're designed to make ketones and use them. But people have some fat consumption problems, would be the problem. Most people could do keto, but I say don't do it if you're not going to do it right. Like, don't eat cheese and don't eat nuts and don't eat monofoods and don't eat a bunch of salads and don't not have good sleep and just expose yourself to a lot of toxins or refeed and do it cyclically. There's no such thing as cyclical ketosis. People are lying to you. Beta hydroxybutyrate salts do not work. You cannot drink ketones or eat the ketones. All of that is a bunch of lies. Stephen, there's no such thing as like, you can't do keto like a carb diet. Remember, you're not feeding the muscles anymore with glycogen. You're feeding it with ketones. And so you don't bulk. Bulking on a carb diet would be eating high amounts of carbs, high amounts of protein, and to raise your insulin. Well, you become insulin resistant, which means you're going to have to eat more carbs to have more insulin to try to get the amino acids and more protein and all this stuff. And you hold a lot of water, because for every gram of carbohydrate that you consume, you can hold up to 4.4 grams of water, normally around 2.8, but you can go up to 4 grams of water. So people on a standard bodybuilding diet are having a lot of high blood sugar and a lot of insulin resistance. So they're building muscle and they're also storing fat. So ketogenesis doesn't work that way. You become, once you're adapted, you become insulin sensitive. So if you want to get massive gains, no one is going to get massive gains. Like when people who are natural, who do bodybuilding competitions, by the time they get lean, they shrivel to little raisins. They drop so much weight. So why would you go through that metabolic, like, complete explosion in your body, destroy your body, and destroy your thyroid, and destroy your testosterone? We can just do keto, not be catabolic, because now instead of my body using amino acids to feed the brain, my body just uses body fat. So I would say that you keep size and you gain muscle on keto by not being gluconeogenic. You don't need to do these bulks or dirty bulks. It's not the same science. Great flax recipe. I guess one person made it and he was like, the thing is, you guys, when you guys are doing recipes, you have to actually look at the texture of things. So I was talking about the flax recipe on the keto course site, which is, I'm doing a keto course, you guys. You can sign up at stephanieperson.com. You can go 1 month or a bazillion months at $15 a month. And I'm really getting super tired on it. Why won't keto help my red eyes? Because probably, first of all, keto, it's just a name. Keto? Are you adapted? Probably not. Because people who are adapted go to bed at like 9 o'clock. People who are adapted like chew their food slowly. People who are adapted get deep sleep. People who are adapted get enough electrolytes in. So you can't say, why is keto not doing it? You're not adapted. People keep forgetting keto is about using ketones, and you're probably not enough. So if your eyes are still red, there's still inflammatory issues going on. No mangoes. That's no. That's not keto. That's paleo. No green tea because it's got caffeine, and if you're gonna do decaf green tea, then it should be water pressed because of the chemicals they use to strip out the caffeine. Yeah, have I worked with MTHR gene mutation people? I don't know, 200 of them, 400. Shoot, dang, nearly half the population got MTHR gene mutations. Why do you think people have so much autoimmunity? Plus all the toxins doesn't help their gene mutation, especially if the double gene mutation. I just said caffeinated green tea is a no. It has to be decaf, it has to be water pressed. Going to bed around 9, getting up at 5. Oh, you're feeling great, Liz. Okay, cool. Life. Magnesium glycinate. Some people have an issue with the glycinate because they have loose stools, so they got to do malate. So just, it's either glycinate or malate. And then if you have constipated, you can do a citrate. No, I try not to. Of course, I've used supplements. I've had gazillions of them, and they've been beneficial, right? I had a lot of knee surgeries, and so they put me on a catheter. No. What's the machine called that pregnant women use? They don't feel. I forgot what it's called. My brain just slipped my mind. And I was on one of those epidural. Epidural? Is that right? I was on an epidural. Is it epidural? Now I'm like, is that the right word? I was on an epidural for I was in hospital for a week on a machine, and you can't feel if you have to pee or poop. And so nurses keep putting catheters in your urethra, and then I got a UTI, urinary tract infection, never had it before until that nonsense. And then you're prone to them all the time. And so I would use D-mannose, which is amazing for UTIs, but it's kind of high in carbohydrate. But the D-mannose, amazing supplement for cranberry and D-mannose. D-mannose is the one that will take the bacteria infection down exponentially. I've done that. I've done chlorella because I had a bunch of amalgam fillings in my mouth. I've done chlorella. I've done the bentonite clay. I've done, I don't know, different probiotics. I've done, what else? Vitamin C. I haven't done D because that stuff is toxic. I've done a lot of weird supplements, but now I just try to take it all down to real food. I've done colloidal silver, kind of works. I prefer lauricidin. That's way better. Oregano oil and coconut oil pooling, way better than colloidal silver, which is really expensive. Not heart. It was heart and liver. Not in moderation. You don't have to eat things in moderation, right? You just have to not overboard eating too much protein because it'll spike your blood sugar. Richard's like, join her Facebook group. No, you don't need it. Ashwagandha doesn't work anyway. And ashwagandha is nightshade. And so many women have thyroid issues. You don't need it. Ashwagandha is not going to control your cortisol. You can't drive in traffic and not breathe and have digestive issues and take ashwagandha and all of a sudden the stress goes down. It doesn't work. It's better just you change your lifestyle. to be more homeostatic, in a homeostatic balance or homeostasis. How can mutations, fat loss? Okay, Miranda. So the MTHR gene mutation and these are all theories at this juncture in our evolution of medical science, that these gene mutations you can't methylate. And it's sort of, in layman's terms, you don't detox very well from toxins. And you don't take in B12 and folate very well, which help the cleaning up of the body process. And they think that people with MTHR gene mutations have the type 2 diabetes, the endometriosis, the fibroids, the PCOS, the thyroid cancer, that develops so easily, all of this autoimmunity that we didn't have prior. But the body will learn how to methylate, even though you might have a single gene or double gene mutation. It's amazing if you just get your stress down, how your body will learn how to methylate. Same as when you have no gallbladder, that the body will, because you make the salts, the bile salts, the body will find a way to hold the salts so you can still use them. And that's why people with no gallbladder who eat their foods properly can still do a very high fat diet without a gallbladder. Thank you, Richard V. Love you too. Deep breathing, absolutely amazing. Healing, yes. It's like you take a breath in. Diaphragmatic breathing is in through the mouth, in through the nose, out. I did it in through the mouth. In through the nose, out of the mouth, holding in the breath, and then releasing into the nose. And your chest shouldn't move. I'm not doing this right. I need to stand. They say that you should lie down doing diaphragmatic breathing and have your belly rise. So your chest, so you put your hand here on the chest to make sure that it's not rising, because you don't want to fill up the lungs with air here. You want to fill up the diaphragm. And this is a better way to lower cortisol instantly in 4 breaths than ashwagandha, to be honest. You ate a sandwich yesterday. Well, that sucks. That sucks for you. Yes. Life up to 9 cups of cruciferous vegetables a day. Richard, as long as they don't have a histamine intolerance and as long as they cook it. So everything's contextual. Just got to remember, contextual. Can't wait for my book. As you guys know, I'm writing a book. Yes. Past my deadline. That's why it's taking longer, and I created a new one. So, all right, guys. Anybody want a story? Because you know I'm doing story time and then I'm getting out. We're an hour and 12 minutes. Does anybody want story time? I'm no longer, you have a rash in the middle of the neck. That's Candida die-off. And Laura Seated might help. If you guys, okay, put in a number 1 if you guys want story time. Give me a number 1, because then you don't have to write anything. Just give me a number 1. Let me see some ones. Yes. All right. Because what happens, I think I'm getting really tired. I'm doing a lot of broadcasts and I'm answering a lot of questions, and I just need to talk about something else at the end of it. You're fighting Candida right now. Well, there's a lot of things you can do to fight that Candida, like Laura Seated. You're late today, but yes, story time. All right. So we could do skateboarding, my experience living in Sweden or Europe, boys. I don't know. What do you guys want me to talk about? On Wendy, everybody's got Candida, but you get it's a ton of stuff. Candida's like rashes and dandruff and white tongue and smelly breath and rash, fungus around the nails, and loose stool, constipation. Skateboarding boys in Sweden. Okay, let me think here. Skateboarding boys in Sweden. Well, I got some weird stories. I was a pro. Somebody's asking me how good I was. I was like one of the top girls in the world. Yo, that's how I busted my knee. Okay, so Sweden and boy exciting to be honest, but there's a guy in Sweden named Per Holknecht, and I got him confused with Per Welinder. And I was I was very drawn to Scandinavia when I first went to Europe. I went to Germany first, had a lot of drama with boys in Germany. Lots of drama. I had some drama stories about boys in Germany. Denmark was like, but when I moved to Sweden because um, I was touring, you guys, for almost 5 years out of a bag. And my appetite was so gone at this point because we were eating French fries and McDonald's and stuff at gas stations because Europe, it's not like LA. You know, I'm getting like we've got Henry's, we've got Sprouts, we've got Air One, we've got Whole Foods, we've got all of these amazing health marts, and plus we're in another era where I can get really great high quality food here. But then, as a skateboard girl with a bunch of boys in a van, touring and sleeping in this van, we're piled on top of each other. We would go skate for, I don't know, 6 hours straight, and we wouldn't have a place to stay that night. We would lie on top of each other in this van. And the knee pads that were never washed, and a lot of them would develop fungal infections around their knees, so they'd have these rashes around their knees and rashes around their buttocks. And um, we would be like, you could wake up in the morning in this van, and there'd be drips of like condensation from all the breath, and it would be yellow. It was nasty. I cannot believe I'll never do that again. Never. But I moved to Sweden because I was touring so much. Because you know, you guys, jag bodde i Sverige för många år, nästan 11 år jag bodde i Sverige. Så det är därför jag pratar svenska. So I learned how to speak Swedish because I moved to Sweden. Now, I lived in Amsterdam. Seriously, everybody speaks English in Amsterdam. I lived there in the Sumatra area. I also lived in Amsterdam, and like I remember like Bakkebaden and stuff like stupid stuff like that. And in Germany, I know some German, but which I get confused with Swedish sometimes because they're very similar, but Swedish sing more, you know. But I told you last broad stream, I wanted to move to Copenhagen. Because out of all the cities, that was my favorite city out of all European cities. And I've been to like Praha. I've been all over a billion times to all these cool little cities, which Prague also is like another great city. Amsterdam also is one of my faves, but Copenhagen at that time. So I couldn't as an American rent a flat in Denmark, but I could in Sweden. I was traveling. I lost my appetite. I knew the Swedish skater, and he was like, "Okay, oh, I do have a Swedish boy story. Okay. I remember a Swedish boy story. Okay, so when we were touring, we would literally be 3 days in one place, 1 day, 2 days. Like we would sleep in the van. Sometimes we would sleep in hotel rooms. We stayed a lot with skaters. A bunch of people piled on the floor in sleeping bags. I was used to that all through the 80s and 90s. And sorry, I'm getting a text. Please go away, text. Okay. So we had some Dutch skaters in the van, some German skaters, and me and this American guy named Ryan Monahan. And Ryan Monahan and I, if you Google him, we were just friends. But everybody thought we were a couple. But Ryan was too much of a P for me. I'm sorry, Ryan. It's just the way it was. You know what I mean? I would protect him. And so we were friends, and we both were on Deathbox, which turned into Flip skateboarding, which was on Birdhouse with Tony Hawk and all this kind of stuff. So we were touring, and we were in Sweden. We were doing all these little towns all over Sweden. And I'd been to Sweden many times, but to visit, like to Stockholm, but I hadn't been to Sweden to do a tour. So I went to Sweden, with Ryan in a van, that dang white van, and we were driving around, and one of the Swedish skaters named Jocke Olsen, he was like, can my friend come on the tour? And I was like, no more boys in this van, no, because Ryan and I were the team managers. And he begged and begged and begged, and I have a soft heart for people. I come across as really tough, but I am such a softie, it's bad. I'm like a doormat sometimes. I was like, fine, but no more people after that. So we pick up his friend, and his name was Anders Rudner. We pick up Anders, and we drive down to a bunch of German competitions, trying to go to Chamonix in France, hitting a bunch of competitions and also demos. So we get down to Germany, and we get to Dusseldorf, because there used to be a contest series called the Münster Monster Mastership by Titus Dittmann. These are all things you guys can Google. I am not pulling stuff out of the bunghole. So we go to the Münster Monster Mastership competition with Titus Dittmann, who's a crazy man. But anyway, that dude was crazy. Yo, what was he doing around a bunch of kids? You know, I'm just saying. You know, so we get there, and we stay at, was it a ramp in like Cologne or something? We stay at the ramp in a warehouse, which I've got pictures of like bunch of sleeping bags. It's freezing in this hall, and we're sleeping on the ramp, like on the flat bottom. And one of the skater kids is like, a couple of you can stay at my house, Stephanie, Ryan, obviously, and we can have one more person, Hawk friends. What about Hawk? We were all one big family back in the 80s. Like, we all knew each other. Lester Kasai, Adrian Demain, Hosoi, you know, Naudis Kalpis, who's Greek, you know, you name it. Like, we were all Tommy Guerrero, Tommy G, a bunch of us. So we were all like kind of one big family. This is the dumbest comment. Like, I don't have time for that. Messing up my little story and everything, child. Hold on, guys. Hold on one sec. It works on my other phone. Okay, so I'm going to finish this story. Well, you know, we're in that. Somebody's like, why do idiots not show pics? Because they're insecure. Insecure people like to troll. It gives them it's a high. Okay, so so this Swedish guy jumps on, and I'm like, he was quiet, he was respectful. I was like, these boys were a nightmare. And thank you, Strict Joy 96. So yeah, dopamine high from trolling. Get over it. Okay. So the Swedish guy comes in, and he wasn't a team rider. We get to the competition, and his friend who was on the team, the Deathbox team, his friend Deathbox is the Deathbox in skateboard terms is the filter in a swimming pool, right? So we would skate back there, a pool that was empty, because back in the day in Cali, because I'm from Cali, born, raised here, you would go and look for pools that like rentals or homes trying to be sold, and there's no water in the pool, and we jump in the backyard and go skate it. And you want to be careful for the filter, because that would be, if your wheels hit that, it gets stuck, and that's called the death box. So anyway, which is the company name, this British company. So his friend Jocke Olsen leaves his friend, Anders. Just like, he's like, he didn't even try to get him in. And here's this kid on the other side. We're inside in this gated area, and he just left his friend high and dry. The guy begged for his friend. Du uppskattade. Tack för den intressanta historia. Tack så mycket, Meska 222. Så förlåt, jag försöker prata svenska, men det är inte så fantastiskt, men jag försöker i alla fall. Så, tack. Och det är lite uppskattade. Okej, så tack. Att du ska uppskatta mig. So this cat, right, Anders, she comes, and I'm like, look, I'm going to get you in. So I go to try to get him a wristband so he can get in, so he's not this kid left out on the outside with this crew. And I brought him in, and no. I tried to bring him in, but he snuck in anyway. He's like, I found a place to jump over the fence. I got in. I was like, okay, great. So then we're just like, I'm just skating. He comes up to me. It's like lunchtime. He's like, do you want to go grab a bite to lunch? And I was like, yeah, I kind of want to get away from it. It was really noisy and kids and skateboarding wheels and clack and ugh. So we go out, we find this Chinese restaurant, and he pays for it. Now, in all my young years at that juncture in my life, no guy ever paid for me, ever, and never did anything nice. And I was like, that is the sweetest thing ever. So when we ended up staying at this kid's house, when we were able to not have to sleep at where the ramp was, and this ramp was not the competition ramp. This was another ramp in the hall. I was like, okay, I was like, Ryan, me, you, and Anders, we want him to be able to get into the apartment to sleep inside. And we woke up the next day, and he was cleaning this kid's apartment. And I was like, this is a cool dude. So we were still touring. We ended up going to Bourges, to France for another competition. So Anders stayed with us, and we were going to go to Chamonix in France. And I was like, the mountains. And I was like, I want to go, but I'm exhausted. Like, I can't. Like, I have no appetite. I'm not sleeping. I'm dirty all the time. I just literally don't want to go. And he goes, well, you can come to Sweden and stay with my parents. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to Sweden. It's far away, because if you're in South Germany or if you're in France, going up to Sweden's real far. And I was like, he's like, come on. I was like, he's like, you can stay. My parents will cook you food. And all I wanted was a home cooked meal at this juncture instead of eating French fries at McDonald's and like gas station food, which is like, you know, schnitzel with like potatismousse or something, potatoes, and they eat mashed potatoes and a hot dog. And how they think this is nice, I don't know. Så jättebra. Du säger var det jättebra. Historia eller, you know, jag som försöker att prata svenska. Okay, so we go up, and I was like, well, we got to go through Copenhagen, my favorite city, and I knew a bunch of homies there, and this guy named Steen, all right, Steen, because they have like Steenkesse. So these are all people, you can look them up. So Steen's like, oh, you can come and stay at my place. And so we go to Denmark, to Copenhagen, before we go to Gothenburg, Göteborg. So we go to Copenhagen and stay with Steen, and then from Copenhagen we go to Denmark, and I was just like, his parents were cooking food, you know. Anders slept on the floor. I slept in a bed. I wasn't sleeping on a hard ramp with a sleeping bag. I could take a shower. It was amazing. I was like, oh, heaven. I was in heaven. Sweden is super modern. It's like the States. It's like you can lick the streets. It's clean. At that time, there was no like hemlös människor. There was no homeless people. You know, there was no utlänningar som kommer från andra länder, because I know they have a hard time right now in Sweden. Do that. Anyway. Korv, exactly. Korv, jävla korv. Korv är inte min favorite mat. I'm going to tell you right now. It's not my favorite food. So, I go there and I was like, And he was like, you could just stay here in Sweden. And I was like, I don't know if I want to stay in Sweden because I always wanted to live in Denmark. I'm sorry. Förlåt. Jag älskar, Köpenhamn. I just love Copenhagen. So I wanted to live in Copenhagen. I couldn't find it. And he was like, Anders was like, I'm going to move out to an apartment. You can stay with me. You and Ryan can come and stay. But I had to meet Ryan again down in like Switzerland to do because I was making money that way. So I had to go back down, and I left Anders and all that lovely cushiness, and we were going to go to the States and do a tour for, I don't know, like 6 months, and so go back to the States to tour. And when I went down to Switzerland, and I think we were with Rune Glifberg, I'm not kidding, I think so at that time, who's a big skater, Rune. You have to watch the rest later, Kat. No worries. I'm almost done with the story, guys. So I see the chat dwindle down. Anyone else who hasn't liked the stream, I'm going to finish the story and bounce. So I go down to Switzerland to do this last demonstration show. We call it skate show. And I say to Ryan, I go, I want to invite Anders to the States with us to tour. And Ryan's like, I don't care, whatever. So I call Anders and I said, do you want to go to the States? He's like, are you serious? I go, yeah. And I go, but you have to buy your own ticket. He's like, I'm totally down. So, how did we do this? I can't remember. He took a train. I think we flew from like Hamburg or I don't know. We flew from a German city to New York. And when we got to New York, and Anders was there, we got to New York, Anders was like, I got to take a dump. I'm not going to lie. And he goes into the bathroom. Check this out, you guys. He goes into the bathroom, and he's like, I just put my hand in my poop. I was like, what? He's like, what's up with these American toilets? Like, half the bowl is filled with water, because what you guys don't know is that their plumbing, their toilets, way more smart. I don't know what we're thinking. Like, nothing ever got clogged there. Like, you have these toilets where, especially in Sweden, where the water's at the very bottom of the bowl. Like, you could never, like, wipe and get your hand in water. He wasn't used to a bowl of water. So he stuck his hand after, doing number 2. I was laughing my butt off. I was just laughing to watch this Swedish kid. So we ended up going, he had an aunt in the Virgin Islands who owned catamarans and also yachts. And so we lived, because Sweden's all about, having a summer house on an island and sailing around the island. So he knew all about boating and yachting. So we lived, right? We lived on this boat for like 3 weeks. Ryan's like, I'm going to go to California. So on this boat in the Caribbean islands, we were living, and that's where, he was my first at that time when I was 24 in the Caribbean islands, living on a boat. It was epic. So we were both virgins. And so we ended up, I ended up touring the rest of the States. We moved back to Sweden. I ended up living with him. And he was very shy and very quiet. And I was like young, like, I want to go out. I want to go out and dance. We used to go to Nefertiti. Like, I love to dance. You guys don't know I love to dance. And so I would go out, and he would never want to go out. We ended up breaking up. But it's so funny. He's got like 5 kids today. We met. Last time I went to Sweden, we met at a coffee shop. It was really weird. He's like, Stephanie, you look so young. He's like, I've been watching you on the internet. He's like, have you Googled me too? And I was like, no. Sorry. That was a bazillion years ago. So there's my Swedish story of a Swedish boy. I never thought to talk about I was going to talk about Per Hulk next, staying with him, because he's a very famous, wealthy businessman. He used to be a skateboarder, and I stayed with him years ago, and the stuff that was coming out of his mouth and my ear was ridiculous at the time. But that was my Swedish boyfriend at that time. You had your third kid when you were 24. Yeah, well, my mom had her second at 24. So there are some people. So yeah, Simone, so that's the story out of my life. And I like to end these broadcasts with the story time because I want people to see another side of me. I come across as very like sanctimonious and opinionated and sardonic and pedantic. And I want people to realize that I am a strong person, but I'm also a human person. I've done a lot of things in my life prior to keto. I kind of feel like I don't want to be defined as the keto person. Like when I was skateboarding, I was always a skateboard girl, and I hated that title. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it because there's so many things that I love to do, like photography. As you guys know, I was working as a photographer for many, many, many years, and I was in a band. I was singing in a band. I was like doing a lot of creative things. I was writing articles for magazines. So I was writing. Precis nästa gång. Okej, ja, det är för sent. Du är för sent. Så har det så bra. Sov så gott. Hej till nästa gång. So I was just talking to the one Swedish person in the chat. Yeah, so be serious nästa gång. So thank you guys. So if there's anyone else who has not liked up the stream, like the stream before you go because it lets me know that you are down with stuff and what I'm trying to accomplish by giving some knowledge and sharing a little bit about myself at the age of 50 years of age. And I want to inspire the young people that they can also be healthy and themselves and not be stuck to their cell phones and social media and don't believe the hype, and also to inspire the people in my age demographic that we don't have to be put out to pasture because this is the mother sucking business at the age of 50. Because you know what? I got some energy because I got to bring that back. I used to say that in videos all the time and people used to complain, but that's what I got to say. Have a good night, Dina. Thank you, Mandy, and Dans, and Liz, and Ron, and Jay, and Dina again, and Meski, so my svensk, and Imelda, and Simone, and Yvonne, and Swan, and Manuel, and Kelsey, and Haley, and Norma. Thank you, all you, and Judith. What? Judith? Jude? Oh, Jackie, of course. I know a lot of these people are gone now. She asked me if I fell in love with him. No, I don't think I fell in love with him because he was a sweetheart though. He would ask if I fell in love. Hey, Christian. I didn't fall in love with my first, but you could say that we did that's how, when I started getting to photography. I remember the very first picture I took was a Rastafarian in the Virgin Islands who had green eyes. And I have a picture of it. The very first picture that I took, and I killed it. I killed it. And I was like, hooked after that. I became photography obsessed. I would be in the dark room for bazillion hours to the point where Anders was like, please get out of the dark room. I become obsessed with things. When I skateboard, I become obsessed. I want to learn how to do hand plants, obsessed. I want to learn how to develop pictures and take pictures, obsessed. I want to learn how to do keto the right way. Like I go hard into stuff. Like I want to learn muscle ups, obsessed. Right? I want to do strict pull-ups, obsessed. I want to do handstand push-ups, no wall. I obsessed. When I was roller skating and I was rexing, right, in the 80s, I put on my roller skates, killed it back in the day. So thank you guys for joining the chat. I know I'm tooting my own horn. I do have my own vulnerabilities and insecurities to make myself sound more human instead of sitting there and just, I know I killed it. I love sweethearts, but I also, Anders was very insecure. Like, people, like, if I was in Sweden and någon som kallar mig neger, till example, so you can take that Swedish word and translate it into English, right? The N word, he wouldn't do anything. Like, he would never come to my rescue. Like, I was the one that was protected. I always protect my friends. Like, I have been in so many fights. I've been in fist fights protecting friends. Fist fights. Like, protecting guys. You join my Facebook by going to stephanieperson.com, and it's a keto course. There are courses out there for $300. This is $15 a month. You can go 1 month or 20 months. I'll just say that really quick. But so Anders is a sweetheart, but he had no bullocks, like, at all. And I like sweet, quiet but very strong and someone who can protect you, because I don't want to have to protect the guy. You know what I mean? So now you guys understand, like, I love sweet guys. Like, sweet guys are my favorite. I don't like people who like to be in the middle of attention all day long, but you have to have a sense of humor. Anders hade ingen humor. He didn't have any humor. Like, he was not funny. Make me laugh, be a sweetheart, be very kind, humanistic, empathic, but if stuff's about to go down, they got your back, right? Okay, I can go over the course really quick. What you get a lot, because it's like literally killing me, this course. It's unfortunate that I only catch your broadcast just because my cortisol is out of whack and wake up early. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Emmanuel. You would protect me, Ron. Thank you. I'm a strong girl, so you'd really, really have to protect me. Like, you know. I should. A Swedish girl burned me with her cigarette once in a club. I was not happy with that, but that's another story. Okay, so Q, yeah. So the course works like this. It's obviously 7 days a week. It's exhausting me. Eventually, I will not do a course this interactive, because who would do that? Okay, so Monday is the course day. I put up a subject, and I give you, let's say, hypothyroidism. I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you how it's in conjunction with keto, and a solution to the problem, how to do keto and hypothyroidism, for example. So it's kind of like I put out the information for you guys to learn, and then you can comment on that post. I'm not drinking enough water. I'm getting a headache. Look at my heart stream. Stephanie is a very sarcastic humor. Somebody's like, what kind of dark humor have? I have a mouth on me. You guys don't know. I have a mouth. So, Tuesdays are Ask Steph questions. So I'm actually going to put questions on my site for purchase, because on all my social media, I'm being slammed with questions. And you guys keep DMing me on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on the YouTube, and I just, like, you know, like, I can't answer 1,000 people every day. So there you can tag me and ask a specific question, and I will answer. Wednesdays, it's group discussion. So if we're going to talk about, let's say, the early morning dawns effect, you're having a rebound of blood sugar, how do you lower it into a ketogenic range? We will discuss as a group how to do that specifically. Thursday is either recipe sharing day or post one of your keto meals. I will analyze it, and I will tell you, this is the wrong macros. You need to, so you can see what everybody's eating. So people are posting pictures of one of their meals for the day, and then I chime in and go, you need more fat, you need this, you need that, is that, you're eating too many salads, whatever it is, then I chime in on that. Friday, Saturday are open topics, because people, when they join the page, they just want to vomit their opinion all over the wall, and I'm like, no, this is not like, this is structure. This is a structured course group. And people are hitting me up on DMs like it's over. Like, I don't even answer anymore. And I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's like, if I answer one time to someone, they keep asking 5,000 questions back. So if I don't answer once, I don't have to deal with going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And people forgetting, like, you're not the only one. There are thousands of people, especially, Instagram and my Facebook, like, they just don't stop. And people are even DMing me on my website, and I don't answer. I'm like, this is a website. This is for business. This isn't just to ask a random question, but whatever. That's why I do these live broad streams, broadcasts, so I can answer the questions here. Friday and Saturday are open topics. Then you can finally just post, because people have this, like, impulse control where they just want to, like, just post all during the week. I'm like, no, there's structure here. This is a course. We learn together. Sunday is, I do live broadcasts like what I'm doing with you now, but it's way less people, and I can do split screen mini consultations. So I also ask questions on Sundays in a live broadcast, but I also do many consultations for people who really need my guidance and can't afford a full consultation via my site. They can do a mini consultation on Sundays. that's the course. And you guys know I'm writing the book, and I'm still writing it. I do consultations. Everything's on stephanieperson.com. When this book gets done, which I can't wait for it to get done, there's so many fun things I'm going to do. Better videos, better content. You know, it's going to be epic. You think you're going to join, Liz? It's worth it. I mean, if you just even want to go for 1 month, it's just like Netflix. If you want to stop the subscription, you got to do it yourself. People are like, there's like terms and conditions page when you sign up, and people are like, can you stop my subscription? I'm like, no, baby cakes, you do it yourself. Yeah. You join through my website, stephanieperson.com. There's instructions on how to join and how to stop the subscription. Yes. $15 a month. Love, love, love the keto course. Y'all should just give it a try. Thank you. So Haley, she just joined it. Richard's been on for a while. And a lot of people find me on these broadcasts. They'll join the course, and then they'll still be on broadcast. So I'm finally kind of getting, I love the interaction live, because then people who are watching the replay can see that I'm actually working with people, and then I'm not just pulling stuff out. So thank you guys. I told myself I was just going to do an hour. It's an hour and 45. I have to stop doing this. I have to stop. I've even got to go to the store. It's 7:18. I'm so bad. Yeah, $15 is nothing. So when people ask for more of me on that page, and it doesn't happen very often, I kind of get annoyed. I was like, I can't give more of myself. Like, I'm constantly on that page. Like right now they're tagging me, and this is not the tag day. This is Friday open topics. Don't tag me, because if you have 200 people tag you questions and you're just one person, you lose your mind. I'm not even kidding. Go to the story of the cute guy again. Oh, it's so funny. I've been friends with Eric for a while. Eric and I have, you'll go bananas, I know, right? Eric and I, he's on my live stream at TJ's. And he and I, like, but the thing is about Eric is that he's very, very self-involved. And yeah, he won't do keto. Like, he kind of tried in the beginning, but he's super addicted to candy, and he's very self-involved. Like, everything always has to be about him. That's the way the city is. Do you know what I mean? Everything's about him. Everything. So I even like, because he and I are on such a jokey level, I'll be like, dude, you're a narcissist. Like, really? Let's talk about you some more. Hey, I'll say, hey, Eric. And he'll literally be like, he'll text me, you have to be at the gym. And I'm like, I am at the gym, dude. And he's like, good. He'll show up and just start talking about himself. So even though he and I laugh so much, he's too narcissistic, so we're just friends. He and I are just friends. Okay, I got on your leaving what? Oh well, we'll watch the replay. Yeah, I watched the replay. You're jumping on late. Yeah. Let's see here. I got a battery hook. I got a story about that. I have clocked a guy, but he hit me first. I clocked him. Almost broke his trachea. Oops. No, I'm not that bad. Really, I'm not that bad. I don't like to tell those stories because, you know, I haven't like somebody in like, I don't know, 15 years. But before, I got a story that you'll just freak out if I tell you this story. Like a guy trying to attack me at a skateboard competition, and I clocked that mother sucker so hard. I clocked him. I was 21. I was like, boom! I was 21 and I clocked that sucker. I clocked him. This dude's like 6'5", and I was fearless. I clocked him. Oh, a lot of people. I have been hit, strangled, all type of weird stuff in my life as a young woman being around a bunch of guys. I've been in a lot of situations where guys have tried to injure me. And if it wasn't for my brother, literally, who used to beat the the shite out of me, I don't think that I would have. No, my mom was really strong too. Strong mom, strong woman. Oh yes. Although she never got in a fight. But by the time I went out into the world, and I left the United States at the age of 19, and I came back, I left the U.S. at 19 and came back at 35. I didn't even know how to write a check. I didn't even know, like, I never even had a computer until I was 35. So, you got a lot in common, Ron? You put who down? I laid him down. It's just this guy hit me, and I was shocked. And I got really upset when this guy in the gym, this is years ago, when this guy put his hands on me in the gym. He was trying to hit on me initially, and he put his hands on me, and I was so upset that none of the trainer guys did anything, and I fell to the ground on my back, that I stood up and I clocked this sucker so hard in the throat he couldn't even breathe. I was so upset. Good night, Wendy. Good night. But I haven't done that since I was younger, and now if somebody approaches me, I just walk away. It's really hard to get under my skin. If you hurt someone that I know or family member, it's on. I'm coming for you. I'm not even playing. You mess with one of my friends, or a family member, or a puppy or something like that, it's over. It's a wrap. But if you talking, I don't care. That's what happens when you get older. It's like, I don't care. All right, guys. I swear I swear. Yeah, it's when I was younger, guys were laying hands on me all the time. They were doing it. It was bad. And you just learn how to protect yourself. I was very, 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 very shy as a young girl. I was painfully shy. So who would have thunk that I would have ever been in any type of fight? That came when I left the United States at the age of 19 and went to Europe as a girl by myself around a bunch of boys. I had to protect myself. I've been in situations, Steph had to protect herself. It's bedtime for a lot of you guys on the East Coast. Age or keto? For what? First of all, keto has saved my butt. It has kept me young. Maybe I should do a live broadcast about anti-aging and keto. Men used to try to fight me in the weight room and in the army. They don't see you as a girl. They don't. It's really weird. Like sometimes people will get aggressive, and I'm not a big tall person. Even when I'm playing around, this guy was all twisting my arm, and I was like, is this full twist in my arm? Like, it hurts. So I took my other hand around and I grabbed his pinky finger, because that's a weakness on any size man, that if you grab that pinky finger and you pull it, he'll let go and scream. So this guy was twisting my arm, and I grabbed all I had to do is grab his pinky finger, and it was a wrap. Boop. Sorry. Oh my goodness. You're tall, and I was very strong before I broke my neck. Ooh, I think that's another reason why they'd get in my face. Probably, Donna. Yeah. Guys are weird. Like sometimes they don't see you being as a woman, and they will challenge you, because people, when they get angry and frustrated, they just see red. So I think one of the major cause of death in the United States is spousal abuse. Like that's supersedes, I think, almost even car accidents, if I get the numbers correct. Like it's bad what men do to women. So you have to learn how to protect yourself. We've kept 71 people in this chat with me just rambling. See, my brothers and I always made sure. What is it? Sure? That's a weird way to spell it. Are you your only sister can fight? When we were not around, we go crazy for our sister. Oh, you're a guy. Oh, Jay. Yeah. Men attacking women are sissies. Well, we're just. I don't know if they're sissies, but I think that we're not living. Like, okay, I lived in an African village when I was in my 20s for 2 months, and I was asking about crime because I'm in a village. There's no police. And they were like, oh, see, we all know each other. This was very interesting. They were like, oh, we all know each other. And I was like, okay. And so, like, if you mess or you rob from somebody, we just stone you to D, right? We stone you to D. I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, no. So we don't rob from each other, because if you rob, you risk your life. And this is the way that we worked as tribes in small groups. But when you're living in big cities and people are stressed out and they're not sleeping and their hormones are jacked, we're not dealing with sanity at this juncture, with people harming other people. So we expect people to have consciousness and self-awareness, but the way we're raised as a society, we're very subjective thinkers. And so with all of this political nonsense and people talking about left and right, and I'm like, nobody's just talking about, your hormones, but your lower amount of secretion of serotonin. Like if your serotonin is low, nobody's talking about it from a biological stance. They're talking about human behavior from a moral stance, and there really is no moral code because nothing's real. Do you see what I'm saying? Like everything's fake. I hate technology, yet I'm on it right now. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's a struggle within me as a person to use social media to grow a business and to get a word out, right? To be able to live, to survive, to help my mother, and then to also get the word out. It's very difficult when I can't stand it. Like I wish I was anonymous. I wish nobody knew who I was. I want to be no one. Yeah, I'm a Virgo. Yeah, so, but I'm on the internet. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't on the internet like this. It's freaking weird, right? And I've got a few stalkers. I had to learn quick how to be smart being on the internet. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. God bless you too, honey. 54 here, you get it, Patricia, right? So you don't know, she could be Sagittarius. No. I'm adventurous like crazy. Like, I'm a pro skateboarder. Like, I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm just afraid of stupid people. Selfish people. That's what scares me. Our future, AIs and robots and, jobs and, people's illnesses and cancer taking over our society and subjectivity and people not knowing how to communicate. And like I said before, people don't know how to smile at each other anymore. It's, especially here in Los Angeles, it's very bizarre. Things with status. I've been to parties with millionaires, billionaires. I've been to it, and like I've gone to parties with millionaires with $25 in my account, driving a hoopty, but you like walking in the door like this, right? If you don't have your health, you have nothing. You're poor. Good night, Gary. Thank you for today. Thank you for the donation. Oh, child, you got to go to bed. Thank you for the consultation, Gary, today. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you, Ron and Manuel. Thank you, everyone. And I should go. It's just like, I wish I could just stream like this all the time and not about keto, but well. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining today's chat, and it's time to go and eat some dinner, and I have to go to the store. I don't feel like going to the store. But at least it's Friday. Hey guys, bye. I swear I'm soft deep down inside. I'm not as tough as I sound. I swear I'm not that tough. Thank you, Chrissy and Mark and Carrie.